Huntsville, Alabama, the Rocket City, is no longer a dot on a map. With U.S. Space Command landing here, explosive growth, and a vibrant innovation scene, this city is abundantly on fire. In today's video, we're going to dive into why everyone's talking about Huntsville, Alabama. I just did a recent trip here, and I'm not surprised with the growth that we're seeing here. We're going to talk about some of the major employments and some opportunities you may have to invest in this market.
So I want to thank you all for being here for this important announcement, 7 years in the making. As you know, this has been going on for a long period of time, and I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City.
Only Trump can say something like locale. Right? Anyways, so here we're seeing that Donald Trump is mentioning Huntsville, Alabama as the locale for the U.S. Space Command.
Okay, so Huntsville, Alabama, we love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, though, right? That didn't, right? But we had a lot of competition for this, and Alabama's getting it, Huntsville in particular. So congratulations, everybody. Katie, congratulations. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs, and probably much more than that, and hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. And that's billions, because it can't be millions. It's billions and billions of dollars. Most importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate the high frontier, as they call it.
So one of the keys of this decision is a couple of things. One is that they looked across the entire U.S. and selected Huntsville, Alabama. This was a competition. Two, this is looking to take jobs from Colorado, the current command center, and moving them to Alabama. So a lot of these are guaranteed jobs. They're guaranteed going to come. The third part is that this is where innovation will take place. We're going to hear about the dome and about some of the other innovations taking place here, but this is where we're going to start seeing a lot more of those high-tech workers come in, specifically for defense. Let's start by just diving into Huntsville, Alabama. It has a very long history, and it's been growing population-wise extremely fast. Over the last 5 years, it actually grew in population by over 15%. That's massive. And it's now the second largest city in Alabama. And if we track to see how Huntsville has been performing relative to other cities in Alabama, it's pretty obvious. Huntsville is rapidly expanding while all others are pretty flat. And one of the reasons for Huntsville growth is just the way it's designed. It's more of a spread out suburban type city as opposed to a concentrated city. A lot of the other cities you see on this list, including Mobile, Montgomery, and Birmingham, they have a concentrated urban core and then suburbs around them. So people aren't living in that core. We're seeing the opposite when it comes to Huntsville. Huntsville, the core is very spread out, is very low density. And because it covers more area, there's a lot of companies that are popping up all over the place. So there's not a central location of the growth. It's more of a spread out city, which makes it easier to drive around the city. It also kind of spreads the wealth throughout that region. As you can see here, looking at the pink line for Huntsville, population is absolutely exploding, and there's plenty of room for more growth.
Huntsville's rapid growth raises questions about infrastructure and development. Space Command headquarters employs around 1,700 people. Its relocation could mean more congestion on roads and a greater demand for housing. Shane Davis, the director of urban and economic development for the city of Huntsville, weighed in back in July on the city's influx of new residents.
We continue to invest both in roads and education and healthcare and utilities to, one, prepare for the growth that we're seeing, but also prepare for the future.
So as we just saw there, 17,000 jobs at a minimum are coming to Huntsville. Again, that's what's currently employed by the command center. So we can expect to see a lot more. That's where the total 30K jobs come from. What we're seeing is that there's already a lot of investment taking place in an area like Huntsville, and a lot more has to get done. When this amount of jobs and attention are coming to a single region, everything else has to expand. So that means the hospitals have to expand. That means more jobs. It means the roads have to expand. That means more jobs. It means local universities, high schools, middle schools. So we're seeing a huge growth already with population. Again, Huntsville has room to grow. Now we're going to see that a lot more other industries that support this population are also going to have to expand. All of this means more jobs for Huntsville. So now I want to talk about where Huntsville is located in Alabama. And here's the thing. Alabama is a Gulf state. Huntsville is nowhere near the Gulf. It is much closer to Tennessee. So when you think of Huntsville, think of more Tennessee, think of more Georgia, think of more South Carolina. It's more like in that central kind of plains area, that more mid-Atlantic region. But the key is we're talking about an entire region when we talk about Huntsville. So it's much more low densities than other urban cores, and it means that it's much more spread out. So as an example, for a traditional city, they would have all of their economic activity here in the downtown area. Huntsville different. You see that it's a lot more spread out. And I can show you by over this. So downtown's over here. That's where a lot of the bars, the restaurant, the hotels, a lot of that economic activity takes place there. But a lot of the science centers are actually happening here on this western side. So for example, Facebook has a giant data center over in this region, a little bit north of 576. We also see that there's a Huntington Alpha Institute for Biology located over on this side. And these are major research parks that are taking place there. So when we look at this region over here, this is called Redstone Arsenal. We see that this company employs over 36,000 personnel across multiple different states, and they have different contractors with multiple different agencies, including the DoD and NASA. They do a lot of missile defense technology. Again, a major employer, absolutely critical, and it's recession proof. No matter what happens in the economy, these types of jobs will be here. When we look over to Cummings Research Park, which is located over here, Cummings Research Park is the second largest research park in the United States. It has over 300 companies and employs over 26,000 employees. A lot of it's going to be based on IT. There'll be a lot of research based, a lot of cybersecurity and aerospace engineering. So if you start researching Huntsville, Alabama, you're going to see a lot of projects just like this one. We're talking about expanding a lot of highways. Huntsville is currently one of the top 20 fastest growing metros in the United States, and the city's absolutely preparing for the growth.
Today in North Huntsville, political leaders came together to celebrate the opening of Phase 1 of the Northern Bypass Project. Phase 1 saw the completion of a new intersection at Highway 231 and Bob Wade Lane, allowing drivers to easily get onto the busy roadway. And for Congressman Dale Strong, this project is a way of bringing tax dollars back to his district.
I will be using every amount of leverage for the 5th Congressional District to bring the people's tax money back to this community. We pay as much tax as anyone else, and I can tell you this right here, there's no better way to spend the people's taxpayer dollars than to make transportation easier, to eliminate people standing in or driving in stacked up traffic, and spend more time with your family. So that's what we want to do.
So what we're seeing here is an example of when population growth actually leads to improving quality of life. So we're seeing roads being expanded and obviously a lot more development taking place. And I can tell you from firsthand experience driving around Huntsville, Alabama, you saw a lot of projects taking place. This is a city and a state that's absolutely planning for growth. So I saw this firsthand when I was there. It has a beautiful park system, great hospital network. It's just clean and a very pleasant place to live. But I started doing more research and I saw that actually livability.com also ranked it as a top 100 place to live in the United States. They ranked it this high for several different reasons. Let's go ahead and dive quickly into where it is. So the good thing is the weather here is very comfortable. You get some winter, right? There's a little bit of snowfall, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to have a bunch of schools being canceled. You're also not too far west where you're dealing with a lot of the tornadoes that you can get when you go closer to Oklahoma. Alabama does not have a history of getting hit by hurricanes either. So just overall, Huntsville, Alabama is a pretty safe, mildly climate area that does not have a lot of natural disasters to worry about. And it's worth noting there's plenty of clean water here. There's lakes, there's rivers, there's streams, a lot of good quality waters here. So they're not a place that's actually prone to droughts either. And so here's one of the biggest drivers that I saw of why Huntsville is a phenomenal place to move to if you're looking for employment and a great place to invest in. It's the economy. So one of the main reasons to move to an area like this and to invest here is the type of jobs that they have. These are high skilled, high demand jobs. The average income here is over $113,000. That's massive and really good and strong for a state like Alabama.
As we bring Space Command here, as Golden Dome gets working, it gives us more capability and more businesses that can prosper in this area. And as they prosper, they will grow and they provide more services for our citizens. It's part of your quality of life.
So I actually had a chance to tour Huntsville, Alabama before this news was announced, and I was already blown away. The fact that I got this additional nugget of information that this much job growth is taking place in this region of Alabama, it made me want to go all in. So with that said, I am proud to announce that Build to Rent is expanding to Alabama. And in particularly, we're having a heavy emphasis on Huntsville, Alabama. The growth is just way too obvious. The land is so cheap. Incomes are very high and quality of life is very high. I predict that this would be a region that will continue to grow as the year goes on. And obviously, Build to Rent, we want to be part of that story. So we already have inventory in Huntsville, Alabama. It's available on buildtorent.com. And here's an example of the type of properties that we're selling here.